Welcome, dear students. Today we will begin the history chapter number 3, kinship, caste and class. The slides are taken from HSS Live. So watch the video. You can pause in between and note down the important information. Hello, my students. You can see the topic structure of family. Kinfolk means in Hindi we call it kul. Norms of family and kinship. All the families are not identical. Well, we all know this is the reality. All the families are not same. They vary in terms of numbers, relationship with each other, and the kinds of activities that they share. We all know this is the reality of each family, even today also. If you compare your family with your own neighbor's family, you will find that there are differences. Even if you compare your family with your cousin brothers' families, you will find difference. So this is a reality. Very often people belong to the same family, share food and other resources, live, work and perform rituals. Don't you think today also the same pattern we see in our society? If you belong to the same family, then you will definitely share food and other resources, live together, work together, perform rituals together. So we find all these descriptions in Mahabharata also. Families are generally a large part of the network of people known as the relatives or kinfolk. Familial ties are based on blood and regarded as natural. We call it khoon ka rishta. So family ties basically are based on blood. Okay, blood relationship. They are defined in many ways, such as in some societies, cousins are regarded as relatives, and in other societies, they are not. We know that in our culture, cousins are always treated as our blood relatives. Yes, but there are some societies where they do not treat like this. So therefore, what happened? Cousins can get married, but that is not part of our Indian culture, especially the Hindu culture. In the case of early societies, it is easy for historians to retrieve information about the families of elite class. Say for example, Mahabharata is also revolving around royal families, not the ordinary people. Yes, we do find the information or the mention of many ordinary people, but most of the time it is elite class. Okay, so historians, they draw the information from the families of elite class. Elite class, as we will understand, basically it means the upper caste people. On the other hand, it is very difficult to reconstruct the familial relation of ordinary people. Okay, this is, most of the manuscripts of the past of the world, wherever you go, you will find that most of them are written about elite class only. Therefore, the ordinary people are left out. We have very little information about ordinary people. Another important factor is the attitude towards family and kinship. It is also investigated and analyzed by historians. These factors are important as they give insight into people's thinking. What is their attitudes? What is their behavioral pattern towards the family or those who are not part of the family? All these things help us to understand the cultural mindset of the people. Now, ideal of patrilineal idea of kinship and succession. Patrilineal. Let us understand. Patrilineal means tracing descent from father to son, grandson, and so on. Opposite of patrilineal is matrilineal. It is the term used when descent is traced through the mother. So in our culture, we always find the patrilineal concept is there. Okay, the descent is always counted from father to son, not father to daughter. Under patrilineal system, sons have claims to their father's wealth when the latter died. Daughters will not have any claim over the property. This is called patrilineal system. In case the king did not have a son, he was succeeded by one of his brothers. If king, suppose, not having any son, only daughters, in that case, king's brother will, whosoever brother is there, he will be the next king after him. Sometimes other kinsmen claimed the throne, and it was a very exceptional case that women exercised power. For example, okay, Prabhavati Gupta. We read it in the last chapter about Prabhavati Gupta. Now, what about rules of marriage? Okay, so first of all, we learned about the kinship or the marriage tie, the family ties. Then we understood about the patrilineal, the father side concept, and the third here you find is rules of marriage. Dharma Sutras recognized 8 forms of marriage. So in Indian culture, if you read the Dharma Sutras, you will come across 8 forms of marriages. Out of these, 4 forms of marriage were considered as good. Other 4 are not considered as good. The remaining marriages were condemned because they do not follow Brahmanic norms. Brahmanic norms, here now you can find out the concept of caste domination. The Brahmins, okay, they set the norms. Norms here mean they set the rules and regulations about everything. So Brahmanical norms condemns other 4 types of marriage. They disqualify that marriage. They do not accept it. Women could not get any share in her parental property. Brahmanical norm says women will not have any share in their property. Exogamy means marrying outside was considered desirable. Here outside means outside the blood relation. That is called exogamy. And that is correct. That is the right way. Kanyadan, or the gift of a daughter in marriage, was an important religious duty of the father. So in Mahabharata you come across the concept of Kanyadan. Today in our Indian culture, Hindu culture, we know Kanyadan is one of the most important ritual. One of the most important ritual at the time of marriage. Now, types of marriages. Here you can find. First is called endogamy. Endogamy refers to marriage within a unit, marriage inside one's own group. This could be a kin group, caste, a group living in the same locality. So, in other words, endogamy means marriages between the same caste, same group. Okay, and we know today we do practice such thing. Exogamy. Exogamy refers to the marriage outside one's own group or family or kin. Now exogamy means marrying outside your caste. It is called intercaste marriage. That is called exogamy. In modern India, this is becoming nowadays a very common practice. exogamy. I'm not saying endogamy doesn't exist, it is there, but exogamy is also taking its root. Now polygamy, or polygyny is the practice of a man having several wives. We know in our Indian culture we hardly practice such thing. It may be in Islam community, but in rest of the culture you find one man, one women. That is the marriage concept, one husband and one wife. But polygamy was practiced in that time. We find throughout the history kings often used to have many queens and concubines. The elite class always practiced polygamy. Polyandry is the practice of a woman having several husbands. So this is another practice which we see in Mahabharata, but today we do not find these two things acceptable, polygamy and polyandry. But the top two, endogamy and exogamy, are acceptable today.